Hello out there in TV land. I figured I'd try my hand at one of these clickbaity vinyl tag whatevers. I don't know. Some of these other videos I've done are just too drawn out and research and all that, and I figured I'd just try my hand at one of these. They're fun to watch, you know. I've always watched them, and so I figured I'd try my hand at one here. So this is the Vinyl Tag 2025, and it's just a list of questions. I don't know who came up with these or whatever. I kind of took creative license on some of them, so. And some of them say one, and I have multiple records. I don't really care, so we're just going to jump right into this one. So the first question is, the best purchase of 2024. I had a lot of really good ones, so I'm just gonna hit the highlights here. I have a couple these two 7-inches and then a couple LPs that I'll show here. But I really, this past year, tried to focus more on non-English, non-American punk and skinhead records, and these are two of the best ones that I picked up this year. Plastic Surgery, Revolta. This is one I've been after for a very long time. This is an Italian skinhead band. I believe this was self-released. This is one of those cult classic these days Italian Oi records that you know, is just very expensive for what it is and very hard to find with both inserts. It actually came with two inserts originally. Came with one with everything translated into English, and then it came with one Italian insert that has a lot of different pictures, and oh, there's a no shirt there. But yeah, so this with both inserts was definitely, I would say, one of the better ones I picked up this year. And then I also picked up this Snob Slacked, which is a Swedish band. I've been after this one for a long time, and this one's cool. It has like a fold-out sleeve. This is another one of those bands with a skinhead in it that when you listen to this, you're like, what? This is not Oi at all. This is more Anti-Cynics. Chaos, like that Scandinavian hardcore punk. Very abrasive. I love that stuff too, even though D-Beat elitists kind of ruin it, but you know, I still like all the 80s stuff. But so yeah, that's the two 7-inches. This one is one I had, but I'm trying to collect every variation of this. I mean, this is the seminal, in my opinion, this is the skinhead record of all time. Second to none. You know, if someone's like, what's an Oi band? Like, this is the first thing that I pull out. And if I'm like, if you don't like this, you know, you don't like Oi, or you don't like skinhead music, whatever, that's fine. But this one is actually a great copy. So this came in a bunch of different colors. This one is I think is the most common, which is like the translucent red. It also came on solid red, translucent blue, solid blue, and black. Black being the rarest, and my goal is to have a version of each. So far I have two of these, but this one actually came with the insert for the Last Resort shop. So this one I was definitely after, and this actually came from a friend of mine, Stefan, from Switzerland. And Stefan hooked me up with a lot of the records I've been using in these videos. These were all his back when they came out. He bought them new, and we just came into contact, and I bought a ton of records off of him. And I really should have actually mentioned him in the No Future in Riot City videos. I mean, I got some of the Violators 12-inch I got off of him. You know, some of the Disorder records I got off him. I couldn't even remember all of them, so shout out to Stefan. And here's another one of your records that is enshrined forever in YouTube. Okay, so that was another one. Then I got this one also. This I got very early in the year. This is the Crisis Hymns of Faith. This is, to me, it's seminal, you know, early 70s, or late 70s, early 80s punk. This is kind of in between the first and second wave of punk. This is more of a mini album, really, with the insert. And the cool thing about this insert is this is actually Jock and Wilf from GBH before they were anybody. This was just a random picture of punks that they put in here, and it just so happened to have them two guys in it. So that's really cool to have. If you have this insert, you can see them as young punks going for it. So this was definitely one that's been on my list for a long time. Okay, and there's two more really good ones I got this year. So I got the first Addicts album, the original press with the original cover artwork. They changed it after this first press to the more common Addicts logo that we all know. This was on Dwed Records. This was self-released by them. So that's a tough one to find. Another one I've been after for a long time. And this next one is the last one, and this is by far the #1 find of the year. Well, actually, I didn't find it. I knew about this record. A friend of mine had it for many years, and he finally decided to let it go, and I paid dearly for this one. This is, if you know anything about German Oi, this is probably the, this is basically like that last resort record of Germany. Bosse Onkels obviously went on to become a very famous German band, but this is their very first album, and this was banned in Germany. A lot of people think because they're skinheads it had like some kind of racial right-wing lyrics, but it was actually just like general violent, lyrics that got some of these songs banned. So this is very rare. A lot of these were destroyed after it came out. And this one is especially rare because it still has the insert in it. So this one is, this is one of those, once in a lifetime records. So for me, this is definitely a big one. And they were only skinheads for a short period of time. I think by 86, this came out in 84, I think by 86 they were on to bigger and better things. But they always kind of maintained a little bit of that Oi style in their sound. Even if you listen to their much later stuff from the 90s, 2000s, 2010s, like they always had a little bit of that Oi style, still that Oi punk style left in there. And they still play even some of these songs, especially the title track. I've seen videos of them playing it, very recently. So yeah, this is one of my favorite German records and definitely one of my prized possessions. Okay, so moving on, that was the first one. So number 2 is 50 Years Later, best album from 1974. I think 50 years from 2025 would be 1975. But whatever, I'll play along. So obviously, can we say this one? I don't know. Whatever. We'll skip that one because that's an easy one. This one I love this record. I'm big on the 70s glam stuff, which really was, by 74, was one of the, this was one of the forerunners of that. Just off the top of my head, then there's obviously Slade and Heavy Metal Kids. Like, these are all, I don't know if they're the best from 1974, but 74 was kind of an obscure year for rock, It wasn't really 70, it was a lot of more mainstream stuff was kind of gone by this point, Zeppelin, all that stuff was kind of heading out. So this stuff I really liked, all this glam stuff. So there you go. There's 3 from 74. Well, 4 if you count Kiss. Okay, so, since I think it should be 75, I'll throw 2 in. So Sweet, obviously this is a seminal record. This is actually a record club pressing. So I always go for those club pressings of common records if I see them. They have those record club pressing numbers on them, catalog numbers. So I always jump on those when I see them, just because I think they're neat. And technically this is 1979, but this was recorded at the end of 75. And I'm really gonna try not to make every single one of these points about Motorhead and or Lemmy, because I was looking through all the questions and I was like, I very well could just do every single record Lemmy or Motorhead related, but I'm gonna try. I'm not promising anything, but I'm gonna try to keep the Motorhead stuff to a minimum, because I am planning on doing a whole Motorhead video. So, all right, with that said, we'll move on to the next one, and it is going to be an album that defines a genre. And I was trying to think pretty hard about this, and I want to do something that's like a little bit not like just generic punk. So I picked this record, Inepsy, Rock and Roll Babylon, and I think that this album really is genre defining for the whole motor punk, D-beat, rock and roll, whatever kind of thing you want to put on this, that I think has really took off, especially since the 2010s. Between like the 2010s and now, there's a lot of bands, you know, like Speed Wolf, Overdose, like and those are just off the top of my head, but there's a ton of bands that are really cool in that style. But this, I think, is like ground zero for that, where they really took like Motorhead, Discharge, GBH, Bathory, like all, you know, like metal and punk, and kind of just made this rock and roll awesomeness. And this was actually extra relevant because it was just reissued. So this is the original press, and this is the reissue that just came out. And yeah, this is one of my favorite records of all time. And this reissue came on a cool, I guess, splatter. I usually don't go for colored vinyl. If you watch any of my other videos, I'm not like a colored vinyl guy, but I have the original press in black, so I figured if I'm gonna be a psychopath and buy multiple copies of the single record, there should be something different about them. So I bought the color version. But yeah, Inepsy, Rock and Roll Babylon. I declared my undying allegiance to this band the first time I heard them, and yeah, still to this day. Awesome band. Okay, so the next one is an artist you miss dearly. And to me, there's really only one answer to that question, and that is Lemmy. I was lucky enough to see Motorhead one time back in 2009. I think I got to see them. And it was actually for my 21st birthday, and I forgot my ID, so I couldn't drink. But there's a silver lining to that, because I was not drunk, so I remember it, which, like, wow. What a blessing. So this is the last Motorhead record I got, and I've been after this for a while. This is a Canadian 12-inch compilation that came out around Iron Fist here. Obviously, you can see the ad for Iron Fist. And this, it's called the Complete Kit. It's not complete in any way, shape, or form, nor is it really a kit. So I don't know what they were really going for with this. It's a 12-inch. It has, it came with a bunch of little extra stuff. It came with a poster. It's got this cool little fold-out thing. This poster's pretty neat. This is really tough to find, actually, with all of the little doodads intact. So yeah, this has the poster, never been hung up. It's got no holes in it. So I was really happy to find this. Originally, this came with this poster. It came with this, I believe this is just the tour brochure that they sold at on the Iron Fist tour. It's got them all in their little night gimmick, which was the Iron Fist. They were cowboys on Ace of Spades. They were bomber pilots on Bomber. And then for Iron Fist, they were like medieval knights, which is, I think by many people's standards, the goofiest of all their gimmicks. But yeah, I think this was just the Iron Fist tour program. So it came with that, and it came with a patch. This one is missing the patch, but it came with this, which is awesome. This is somebody's official Motorhead fan club membership. No, these are printed on the autographs. They're not actually signed, but it's still really cool. Yeah, so I guess he must have put this in here, and it also has a press sheet, like an info sheet that I guess would have been sent out for people, or to radio stations, or I'm not sure, but that's pretty cool. And then yeah, it came with this red, which you can see as a catalog number here. So yeah, that's a pretty cool, and I had no idea that these were in there until I actually opened this up, and I was like, holy shit, that's an extra bonus. So I'm missing the patch, but I think that's way cooler than the patch, personally. Okay, so that is number 5. Okay, number 6, the best live album in your collection. So that one, I kind of wasn't sure what to really put for this. I mean, could we do Thin Lizzy? Like, how many live albums are made? Because the first thing that came to mind was obviously No Sleep Till Hammersmith. But like, I need to put something that not nobody's ever heard, but something that's a little bit like, not like the first thing that comes to mind. So I settled on this one, and that is Ramones Alive. And to me, this is not only one of the greatest live albums ever recorded, but I think it's the best Ramones album ever recorded. I think that every version of the songs on that, or every version of the songs that are on here are better than the album versions. It's still, this is kind of like the last hurrah of the original lineup before Marky joined. I mean, this was UK only, I think, so this was never released in America. But man, this album is just, you know, it's just back to back to back to back. It's like all the hits, just they're played a little bit faster. I mean, man, this, to me, this is top tier Ramones, like absolute end all be all of Ramones. And there's a little funny Easter egg in this. So supposedly, this gentleman right here in the crowd with the long hair, you can't even see his face, but the legend goes that that is actually Steve from the UK-82 band Newtown Neurotics. And the story goes that after, this is just one of the records I pulled out, but the story goes after seeing the Ramones, he cut all of his hair off and became a punk. And Newtown Neurotics kind of more came into, they started around this time, but they really, by the early 80s, they started coming out more with music, and they're a very great and underrated UK-82 band. So just a little trivia on that one, but yeah, Ramones, It's Alive. To me, if there's a house fire and I can only grab one Ramones record, that's definitely this one. Okay, so that was number 6. So number 7, your partner just dumped you. What album are you putting on? I don't really know what to make of this question. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really listen to records based on my mood. I kind of just listen to records for, you know, I listen to music just to listen to music. It doesn't really, I don't listen to it based on mood, but I guess they're kind of getting at like soppy songs, so I figured I'd just throw 2 doo-wop records in here, Del Shannon and the Platters. So, you know, this stuff I actually have a number of because it's, you know, often under $5, and I actually like all this stuff. So, you know, 2 Kinds of Teardrops. Oh, I'm so sad. I don't know. This one's actually pretty cool. This was in a dollar bin. And then when I pulled it out, it actually had an autographed insert with them from the 90s. I guess they did like a reunion show, and someone went to see them, and they signed this and stuck it in there. So that's pretty cool. I like this a lot. These guys did that Smoke Gets in Your Eyes song. Remember When. I like doo-wop and early 50s rock and roll in general. So that's my answer for that. Okay. Best sounding drums on an album. So this one I really had to think long and hard about because I love so many records just solely based on the drums. And I settled on this. And this was actually the first thing that came to mind, and it is this Verucker's album, but I couldn't choose between these two records. This is actually a mini album. This is 4 songs, and this is a full album. And there's 2 different drummers, but I think that somehow this band had 2 of the greatest sounding drums in punk ever. The Verucker's Bloodsuckers album, the drummer was Brains. His real name was Brian. I forget his last name. I believe he didn't really do anything after the Veruckers. I believe he became a session drummer, so he didn't do like his own bands. I think he played on a lot of stuff, but it was sort of just like as a session musician. And then the drummer on this one was Andy Baker, who went on to notoriety in the metal band Sacrilege, and he also played in some other punk projects around this time. This was 84 and this was 82 or 83, 84. So yeah, these 2 records, just the drums are, you know, just atomic on these. And then one honorable mention, and that is Scotland's Last Rites. You know, like greatest drums ever? I don't think so, but man, they like this is one of those bands that they just had the perfect drummer for the band, you know? Like, yeah, they could have had a better drummer, but like this guy, what's his name? Where's he at? Jim Mitchell. Shout out to Jim Mitchell, because, I mean, this is one of those records that it was everyone in the right place at the right time. And to me, as far as like UK-82 records go, this is definitely near the top of my list. And this is, they're from Scotland. So that's an honorable mention. Okay, so next, favorite artist who is a member of 2 or more bands. Okay. So this one is another one I had to kind of think about. And I came to this conclusion, and I went with Evo. So Evo was a member of 3 very, very different style bands. So he was a drummer, and he was the drummer for The Blood, the drummer for Major Accident, and the drummer and singer for the metal band Warfare. And all 3 of these are like well, they're not completely different. Like these 2 are at least punk, but The Blood and Major Accident are definitely 2 separate wings of punk. Yeah, so he played drums on all 3 of these. Major Accident, one of my favorites. Blood, one of my favorites. As far as metal goes, when I'm talking metal, I'm talking new wave of British heavy metal all day. That is my go-to with metal. And this is one of my favorite. And this is on the almighty Neat record label. Neat. This is, to me, this is the metal label, the time and place for metal. You know, punk and metal in the early 80s in England, just, sorry rest of the world, but to me, numero uno. Okay, so, what did we just do again? I don't even remember. Favorite artist who was in, okay, yeah. Okay, number 10. Yeah, number 10. Okay, so this is kind of a stupid one. I guess I'll kind of play along. So number 10 is the Beatles or the Stones. I mean, you know, you can't not like either of them, you know? The Beatles or the Stones. I don't know. I don't really care. I like both of them. I don't even know what really these aren't worth nothing. I don't care. You know, I just find a good copy that's listenable. This is the first albums from both the Beatles and the Stones, and I tend to like their earlier material for both of them. You know, the Stones, I guess, are more, I mean, like, no disrespect to the Beatles, but they didn't play after, what was it, 65 or 66? And they just made records. The Rolling Stones are actually out there playing. So to me, that's a real band, you know? Like, once you're not playing live and once you're not doing tours, like, yeah, that's great that you're making gold records that everybody loves, but they can't even go see you. So it's like, what the hell's even the point? I don't know. You play on a rooftop, and then, you know, one of you just gets shot, and it's like, oh, no. I personally, you know, it is what it is. I don't know. So I'm going to answer this question with the Animals. I listen to the Animals way more than I listen to either the Beatles or the Stones. So, yeah, I'm going to leave it at that, and we'll move on. Okay. Number 11. You found a bag of weed. What are you going to listen to? I mean, there's really only one answer to that question. And I think it has to be this, right? Like, are you going to put on anything other than Master Reality? I don't know. I was never a weed guy, really. So, you know, I was always drinking 40s and acting like a retard, you know, huffing glue. So if I was going to go back to my old ways of substances, I'd put this on. I'd put this on the suicide bag, you know. I don't know. Yeah, that's a silly question. But yeah, so onward. Okay. 12, an album from the 1980s you still actually listen to. You know, you've been watching it. I think every album I've shown has been from the 80s. So I was like, well, this is a little redundant. So I picked I picked this one. I don't know. There's another 80s album that I still listen to. This is their best album in my opinion. Better than Punk's Not Dead. I don't care. I'll die on that hill. This is the Exploited album. Okay, so an artist whose political stance has soured you. This one, I didn't really know what to put because I don't listen, again, sort of like that other one, I don't listen to music for political reasons. I don't own a record that encompasses my political views. I don't agree with pretty much any record. You know, it's like, I don't really know what to put. So I picked this band, and it's not really a band that their political view has soured me, but this band is a band that I loved growing up. Action, they were a Canadian street punk band from the 2000s, like mid 2000s. And from all accounts I have heard, you know, like these guys are just street punk out. You know, there was a cover of Extract on here. And apparently, all of these guys now hate punk. So I don't know, you know, I don't really care that they hate punk, you know, I still love this record, but I don't know. Is that a band, that has soured? Maybe that they soured, I don't know. But yeah, apparently they all hate punk now. So yeah, we'll just, yeah, that's the closest answer you're gonna get out of me for that one. I couldn't care less about any political anything. So yeah, with that said, we'll move on. Oh, actually I missed one. I missed number 4. Okay, it's number 4, I'll just go back. Number 4 was the best band from your home country. And this is another like loaded question, like what the best band? I don't know. There's like maybe, I think they're kind of getting at like, you know, first of all, from America, how many bands are from America? I don't know who would be considered the best. So I kind of took a little creative license with this. How about 2 of the records I am most proud of that came out of America? And here's 2. And actually, there's a lot of Detroit in this. We had Stooges, MC5, and Susie Quattro in this video. So yeah, these are 2 records that I just, you know, these are kind of the records that set the standard for a lot of the shit that I love, and they're both are from America. So super proud that both of these are from America. This one is an 80s repress. I don't know. Again, like this sort of stuff, I'm not really super big on what pressing variation it is, what, you know, is it original press, non-original press? I usually just try to get a vintage copy of stuff like this because, yeah, my primary collecting stuff is UK punk and oi records. Those are the ones I really nerd out about. And these is kind of like, you know, I'll throw this on and it's a great record and that's all I need. So, yeah. Anyways, so the next one was, oh, actually there's 2 more. So also I wanted to narrow it down to to state, whatever state and area in the United States. So I did 2. I was born in New York City, in Queens specifically, so I will do Kraut. I'll say this is one that I absolutely love. These guys were from Astoria, I believe, which is actually where my family originated after they came to America. And this is, in my opinion, this is the best New York hardcore record of all time. I don't really get down with the late, what is really known as hardcore. You know, after the first Cro-Mags album, I'm kind of like out on hardcore, you know. If we're talking hardcore with me, we're talking early 80s, we're talking stuff like Kraut. And to me, this is top New York hardcore record of all time. And then I also, so I was born in New York City, and then now I live in Pennsylvania. So I picked this record, and this is one of my favorite all-time Pennsylvania punk records. This came out around the same time as that Action record. This is on punkcore, just like Action. This, to me, is like the quintessential street punk record, one of the quintessential street punk records. I mean, this and all the Virus stuff. I mean, this is what got me into music, period, was this kind of stuff, you know. So this, I kind of went backwards from here into all the UK stuff, the oi music, you know, No Future stuff. I mean, that's really what these kind of bands were channeling at this time. So, yeah, that is going to be my Pennsylvania record. Okay, so now we have number 14, and that is show a favorite record label. So this one was a little tough, I mean, because I've already done multiple videos on my favorite record label, so I figured I'd pick one that was a little more out there. So I chose Chaos Productions from France, and they are kind of like the No Future Riot City of France, and these are just 4 of the compilation records that they put out. And they did a lot of other stuff. I mean, most of the stuff that they put out is on here, you know, Trotz Kids, No Class, Reich Orgasm, Camera Silence, Cambrones. I mean, this is like a who's who punk and disorderly of France. And this one actually, Chaos in Europe, has some non-French bands on it. I think, who's on here? Snicks is on here. Nabat's on here. Ostakosk. There's some other non-French stuff on here. This is Chaos in France, Volume 1 and Volume 2. These are actually come with zines, which I don't have any of the zines. They're apparently very, very rare, the copies that came with the zines. And then this is the first one that they put out. And this one came with a booklet, which I think the booklet's actually in this one. Let's see. Yep, here it is. Yeah, they're just like photocopied fanzines. Can't read any of it, but it's cool to just look at them. So yeah, that is going to be my choice for record label. Chaos Productions. Yep. Okay, so a run of 3 great singles. Okay, so again, I'm just gonna try to not, we're not gonna talk about that. I picked Chelsea. So Chelsea, I mean, they had a multitude of singles. These are the first 3, and I mean, they just keep going. To me, Chelsea is a singles band. The Right to Work, The Loner, I mean, this is just, to me, this band is kind of one of the unsung heroes of UK 77 stuff. And there's another interesting fact about Chelsea is that the entire band of Generation X was at one time Chelsea with Gene October singing, allegedly. And they basically had enough of Gene October, so they all left and became Generation X, and Billy Idol moved to vocals, and the rest is history. Yeah, Gene October was notoriously hard to work with, but then again, so was Billy Idol, from what I hear. So I don't know, just a clash of cultures, but we got 3 great singles out of Chelsea, and well, we got a lot more than 3 great singles out of Chelsea, but those are just the first 3. So a record store day purchase that you can actually consistently listen to. That was by far the toughest question, because I don't do record store day. If it's record store day, I am not at a record store. I can't deal with the crowds. I hate it. I go on normal times, and there's rarely anything that I give a shit about. But I you know, we'll answer it, and I have to think long and hard about this. But I came to these Motorhead live albums. So this is volume 4, and there's, I think, 6 volumes of this, or there will be 6 volumes of this. These are all like unheard live recordings that they have been putting out, and I think these come out on record store day only. But this one is from Christmas 1984, and this is outstanding. And I actually, after I got this one, I went and I found every single other one and bought all of them. And they're all from different eras, and they're kind of more obscure eras too. Like they're from the mid 90s, early 2000s, like the eras of Motorhead that you're kind of like, like it's not really super popular. Like this is the lineup that did Orgasmatron, which is one of the more obscure Motorhead lineups that had Pete Gill on drums from Saxon. That was Lemmy, obviously, and it was Wurzel and Phil Campbell. So that was their one of their 4-piece lineups. And yeah, this sounds amazing. This is one of my favorite. I was even debating putting this in the live album question, because man, and all of them are really cool. And it's really cool to hear a lot of these kind of songs like Iron Fist, Stay Clean, The Hammer, played with other lineups, including the 90s stuff. So all of these Motorhead Lost Tapes albums, I always recommend to people, and they're always just sitting in like the discount bins in record stores. Yeah, because most people don't like live albums at all, but I love live albums, and I think these are great. So that's the one I chose for that. So the next one is, you can be reincarnated as any artist, dead or alive. Who's it going to be? I still have no idea what to even answer for that. And the next one was the best 3 lines in a song. So I kind of combined both of these, and I'm gonna go with this. The best 3 lines in any song is in the Casualty song, "Kill the hippies, kill a hippie, kill a crusty, kill everyone." Fucking, what more do you need? And I guess if I was gonna be reincarnated, I would want to go back to the 90s so I could buy all these UK 82 records for pennies on the dollar. So it's purely for record collecting purposes that I'd want to go back and just buy all these records. Also, this one could be related to my glue sniffing comment earlier. It would be tough. Maybe this would actually be my answer to that. So this is records 3 3 questions right there. Okay, so an album you never tire of. And I mean, again, tough to not do a Motorhead one, but I settled on this one. Rose Tattoo, Rock and Roll Outlaw. This is the first Rose Tattoo album and one of my all-time favorite albums, if you couldn't tell. Just, you know, this is kind of like in that Motorhead niche where it's like every kind of genre of rock and roll I love plugged into one band. You know, this is like, I don't know, if you took like GBH and ZZ Top or something. But yeah, this is the American press, and this band, for whatever reason, just never took off in America. And all of the Rose Tattoo records I see are like, most of them are in near never play condition. Like this one, I think this one was sealed. It was also one of these markdowns, the cut corner records. I'm pretty sure this one was sealed. Because all of my Rose Tattoo albums are the U.S. pressings, and they're all like mint condition. And I think 2 of the 3 first 3 albums were sealed when I got them. So yeah, just Rose Tattoo, Rock and Roll Outlaw, definitely one of my top albums of all time. And then the last one was share your favorite VC channels. Every time I hear that, I just think of Viacom. So I had to really think, because I just kind of watch record YouTube videos, and I'm really bad at subscribing to people. So I had to actually like go back through and see some of the channels. There was obviously, you know, like Vinyl Richie and Ron Kidd. You know, I watch those guys. I love their videos. But a lot of the videos on records I watch on YouTube are metal related. I don't really have a huge metal collection. Most of my records are punk. And I have a lot more classic rock, like Rose Tattoo type stuff, MC5, than I do metal. I definitely need to work on some more metal, but yeah, I watch a lot of metal channels that I couldn't even remember half of them. 2 I can kind of remember are Let's Talk Metal and Lazarus. I watch Lazarus. I think might have been one of the first vinyl YouTube channels I ever saw, if I remember correctly. Oh, and you know what? There was this other guy, Yorkshire. He did like this ABCs of UK82 series. He hasn't made a video in a while, but I really love that series. So I hope he gets back to it. But yeah, so that's gonna end this one. And yeah, Rose Tattoo, best album ever made. All right, on that note, later.